Hi, everyone. So today we are back with our second episode of the IME Supports from Classroom to Consulting with Sanjeev Verma, who's been working in the immigration space for over 30 years and recently just got licensed. So welcome, Sanjeev. It's really great to have you for today's episode. So maybe we can start off by talking a little bit about your background and what led you to pursue a career in immigration consulting.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Justina, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here and speaking on this forum. Yeah, like you mentioned, I've had over 30 years of experience in the immigration field. I work with the Canadian federal government. I retired after 32 years. Mostly all of my work has been with the Immigration Department and with Canada Border Services agencies. So a combination of both roles, both from a facilitative standpoint as well as on the enforcement side of things. Throughout my career, through my tenure, I've been fortunate enough to hold a number of different positions and occupy different roles, which gave me a really broad perspective on the whole immigration ecosystem, and right from start to finish, right from selection of an immigrant, all the way seeing them through getting their citizenship, and on the flip coin side of things as well, where people have run afoul of the immigration laws. And because I did a number of years in the enforcement division, I've also seen the flip side of it, where we've had to remove people from Canada because they did not comply with the laws, immigration rules, and regulations. Um, so what led me to this path? Yeah, this was something that initially when I first started out my career, started off as a summer job, really enjoyed it. One of my goals was always to be able to travel the world, see the world, and this job actually provided me with that opportunity. I was lucky enough to do 5 overseas postings as a Canadian diplomat representing Canada, both in the immigration side of things and as a Canadian Border Services Agency liaison officer overseas. So that gave me a really broad perspective on, working with a lot of different cultural backgrounds and a lot of different people from different nationalities and countries, and got to live and work overseas. So that's how it all developed. And after my retirement, this was sort of an organic progression into my private practice, where I can use my years of experience and knowledge that I've gained over this time to be able to use that in a meaningful way in helping deserving people, achieve their immigration goals to Canada.
Oh, that sounds like really great opportunities that you've had so far through your career, even before you got licensed. And I know we talked a little bit about it off the podcast about you being in the immigration space for over 30 years and that like having an impact in you wanting to get licensed. So I'm curious to know like what were some of the experiences you had like working in border control that helps you as a licensed RCIC now?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the what it provides me is a perspective of knowing what is essential. Having done the job, on the other side of the table, it's given me a great appreciation of knowing what makes a good immigrant, who's going to be a successful immigrant. Because I've seen not only people get, very successfully established in Canada, and I've also seen individuals who run afoul, like I mentioned, of the immigration laws and where the pitfalls are. And so it's sort of given me that unique perspective to be able to, talk to people, assess their requirements in a meaningful way, identify any red flags early on in the process, and try to address those in a way which I'm helping the people who require that assistance or who approach me as an immigration professional to say, we need your assistance in achieving our immigration goals. So I'm able to look at their case or their situation from a holistic point of view, give my true opinion. From an advocacy perspective, what I also bring to the table is uh, I know what immigration, the thought process that goes on in assessing an application and in rendering those decisions because I was the person making those decisions initially. So I know what to focus on in an application. I know how to present a case in terms of what is essential, what is not essential, and sort of provide that uh, you know knowledge to make sure that I'm providing the best guidance to the clients that I represent, and I'm representing their best interest forward with the department. And so I think that's essentially how I approach it. A very candid conversation with my clients or people who approach me. And if it is somebody I can help, I do my best to help them. And if it is something that I know from my own experience and my lived experience that maybe this is not a particular case that's going to be successful or have a successful outcome, I'm upfront with that to say, you know what, unfortunately, I'm not the right person to help you in this case. So, I think having those candid conversations really, really help.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point that you brought up. So two things about that is, do you think that that's something that a new RCIC struggles with, like knowing when to say no to a client?
Yeah, definitely. I think that is something that's a competency that comes with experience. That's a competency that comes over time, and after doing a number of different experiences. And I think that's why it's very critical for new RCICs without, and these are individuals who may not have a background either in law enforcement or in immigration or related fields. I think it's important for them to work with a mentor initially to learn what know to find out what their strengths are. It's critical for, and my advice to new RCICs is focus on one or two subject matters initially. Don't try to take on everything initially. Learn. Uh, don't be afraid to ask questions. Reach out to the broader, community of RCICs and other practitioners. Most of us are very willing and eager to impart our knowledge and help new RCICs, become established and learn from other people's experience. And I think that's how you build your expertise and you build your competencies. And yeah, I think knowing what your strengths and weaknesses are is very, very critical because it's only at that point that you can guide your clients appropriately.
Hmm. And then you also mentioned like you had the experience from your past work working in CVSA, I believe you said.
That's right.
Like you knew how to assess applications. So for someone new, do you think that comes also with experience? Like you just learn about that on the job, or did your program also help you with that, the Queen's program?
Well, you're referring to the Queen's program at the graduate diploma in
Yes.
immigration and citizenship law. Yeah, definitely. That's a good program that I went through myself. 1 year intensive program. I think it does provide you a lot of knowledge. It does provide you the legislative knowledge. It does provide you some tips and tricks on doing legal research. Uh, what it lacks is, although there are certain, project-based assignments that we completed during the program, um, it exposes you to some of that application, compiling an application, compiling the information. But of course, you will only build on those competencies once you actually start working in real life scenarios and real life situations.
Hmm.
And that will be built over time. So that's why it's critical for new RCICs to work with somebody experienced initially. The college does provide a mentorship program, which is a mandatory program where for new RCICs after they graduate, after they're licensed. But that program is running behind from our perspective. Whereas, people who've been already licensed for a year and a half, they're still waiting to complete the mandatory mentorship program. So I think that process with the regulator can be expedited a little bit so that it helps new RCICs, after being licensed to sort of launch their own practices as soon as possible, because that's the goal of most of them. So I think it's important until that happens is to seek out your own mentors, to seek out your own, within your own network, to reach out to people who've been practicing for a number of years, to learn from them and to see how they approach different situations and different caseloads.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that also was a good segue into the CAPIC's IME mentorship program because
That's right.
we also just launched that, and I know it's like also really been beneficial to some of the people that joined it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've tried that one as well, but
Well,
it's pretty
I'm actually part of the CAPIC IMME Mentor program. I'm one of the
okay.
mentors
Oh, that's
on
great.
on the program. So I look forward to welcoming new RCICs
Hmm.
through CAPIC who want assistance, and they can always reach out to me through CAPIC, and more than happy to provide my input into the subject matters that I'm more familiar with, and that way I can happy to share that with people.
Hmm. That's great. That's a great point. So if anyone wants to join, that's like a
Yeah,
really good resource.
exactly.
And then
Yeah.
you also mentioned focusing on one or two subject matters. And I've heard like some students come into the program and they don't realize like the vast amount of opportunity that there is in that field. So I just wanted to ask you, like, are there any specific areas of immigration that you're particularly passionate about, and how did you come to finding like what your niche was?
Yeah, really, really great question. Through my career, I was exposed to all the different varieties of applications, from refugee applications to economic class applications for permanent residents, family sponsorships, to student visas, to work permits, so on and so forth. So I was exposed. I had exposure to a lot of different type of applications, but once I started my practice, I wanted to see what it is, what type of applications I would be most interested in. So I was always more interested in qualitative work rather than quantity. You can do a number of TRV applications, or you can do a number of study permit applications. Those become very where you're doing huge numbers and a lot of volume. I wanted to steer away from that. I wanted to work on cases where, um, you know, not only from a learning perspective myself, but also to see where I could bring in added value to, through my experience, through my network, through my, basically my own competencies. So I've started focusing on the business immigration side of things. I had through my network, I had good relationships with a number of large business incubators in the Toronto area, and so kind of naturally gravitated towards business immigration, towards economic immigration through the startup visa program. So that's where I started focusing my energy towards, and I think that's where I'm quite comfortable. It was a good learning opportunity for me as well, because these are very niche and very small programs in a large immigration department. But so it was nice to be able to work with clients who are in it for the long run. They are, these are entrepreneurs who are looking to invest or start new businesses in Canada. So helping them achieve their goals of not only their immigration processes, but also helping them establish their businesses and grow their businesses in Canada, I think was something that I wanted to, take on as a challenge, but and also be able to provide that necessary guidance and then help them achieve their goals of getting their businesses established and grow their businesses from within Canada. And so this was good. Uh, and within that larger business immigration portfolio, you also end up doing the other, touching on other components of immigration as well. You're applying for study permits for their children who might be accompanying them. You're applying for work permits to the spouses of the business people who are coming to establish their business. Later on, once they achieve their permanent residence, you are helping family sponsorships in terms of maybe applications for to sponsor their parents, either under the super visa program. So you do end up touching on the other components of immigration as well. But I think my main focus has been business and economic immigration.
Hmm. And I'm sure you also have learned like a lot of other things, running your own practice along with, working on those different programs as well.
Yeah, so that has been something which is, of course, has been something new for me. The immigration component of this business comes relatively easily because of my exposure to the immigration field. Running your own business as an entrepreneur is something that, I'm learning as well as I'm going, as I'm trying to grow my practice, as I'm trying to grow my business. So learning to become an entrepreneur has been sort of my own journey in this regard. To say, okay, how do I manage my business requirements? Where do I need to, how do I market myself? How do I reach out to potential clients? And once those clients come in, what are the client management tools that I need to have in place to make sure that I'm providing the right type of service? Are my accounting practices up to speed? Am I dealing with so, I'm reaching out to other professionals who are helping me set up my business and grow my business appropriately.
Hmm. I think that's a really great experience that you bring to that. And then also like for anyone who might be thinking of running their own business, would you recommend that to someone graduating, or would you recommend maybe working alongside a senior consultant and then going into that space?
No, definitely. If anybody wants to start their own practice, I welcome that. And like I said, I mean, there's a lot of resources that are available for you to seek that mentorship and learn how to run the business. But if you haven't run a business before, I think it's important to make sure you have a good accountant. That you're dealing with. You get the services of a good lawyer if you're drafting up any contracts, so on and so forth. So getting that professional advice is really, really important to make sure that you are setting it up properly right from the get-go rather than trying to play catch up later on. So I think those become important in terms of, running an immigration practice apart from the business side. Yeah, it's critical that if you get the opportunity to shadow some experienced consultants before, that is definitely, going to be beneficial and advantageous for you to learn and to maybe set up your work processes in a way or try to learn from them to see what type of office software they're using to help them in their client management and so on and so forth. So I think it's important that not jump in and fumble, but seek out the advice that you need and the help that you need early on.
Yeah, like maybe go slow and steady
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah, go with
yeah.
yeah, I think that's good advice as well.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned like seeking out mentorship and seeking out like a good community when you're starting out. So I'd like to ask you like what is the best piece of advice you've received from a mentor or an instructor in your journey so far?
Really good question.
Hmm.
Um, I think one of the good pieces of advice from one of my close mentors from a business perspective was to to be not afraid to take a risk. You know, I think the line I use is basically, once you start walking, the path sort of appears, right? So taking action, I think, was a really good advice that I received from one of my mentors to say, yeah, start and then you can figure it out as you go along. And I think that's something that I follow. There's definitely things that I'm reluctant to start initially, but I think having that sort of knowledge that yes, I can seek out that information to be able to help me along the way. And if I get stuck, I know where to go to. So having that network, having that network of people that you can count on, and I do that regularly. Thankfully, I've managed to establish good working relationships, not only with my peers, but I also have good relationship with my ex-colleagues and so on and so forth. And I'm not afraid to pick up a phone and say, "Hey, I'm stuck. Can you help me out?" And I think that that's something that most people should learn to do, and not be afraid to ask for that assistance when it's needed.
Yeah. I think no question is a dumb question, even if you think it
That's
is,
right.
someone else is always asking the same question.
Yeah, exactly. And associations like CAPIC are wonderful for that. It's just a wealth of knowledge, and there's so many different resources that are available to new practitioners where they can reach out, attend all the meetings, all the conferences that are coming up. That's how you get to network, and that's how you get to learn people. That's how you get to learn people who are running their businesses or who are the subject matter experts in their own fields. So you seek out those individuals who've been doing this for a long time. We're lucky to be in a profession where there's people who've been in this profession for like 30, 40 years. So
Hmm.
there's a wealth of knowledge out there, and most people are more than happy to assist.
Hmm. That's really great advice.
Yeah.
So one last question, and I like to wrap up the podcast by asking you if you could describe your journey in one word so far, what would it be and why?
Hmm. One word. I think it's been fulfilling.
Hmm.
I think if I were to use a word, I think of fulfilling. I'm content with the way my journey has evolved. Like I said, been lucky enough to be in this field for almost 35 years, and now, after having left the department, being independent, working for myself. I think that the freedom that it's brought me is immense, where I can, I work, and when I'm helping people and when I'm guiding people, it sort of, you know, it brings me a lot of satisfaction to know that I'm making a difference in people's life. So I think that's why it's been pretty fulfilling. I think that I will leave it at that.
That's wonderful, Sanjeev.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us for this podcast, and I'm excited to see what else you do in the future.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, Justina. It's a pleasure.
No problem.
Take care.
You too.
Thanks. Bye bye.